Welcome to the Grief Ladies, the practical guide to what comes next. I'm Kelly Doherty.
And I'm Karen Arnold, and we are two grief professionals with over 50 years of combined experience. We're here to validate, educate, and give you tangible tools you can actually use.
Each episode motivates you to take action and reminds you it's okay to want to feel better. This is the Grief Ladies, a guide to what comes next.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to our Grief Ladies podcast. I am Karen here with Kelly, and we are on the letter R this week for rebuilding. We're welcoming today our guest, Vallen Webb. I'll start right off with her bio just to jump right in and give you an idea. Vallen is a bereaved mother, postpartum and bereavement doula, and founder of Evelyn James and Company, a grief-informed training and resource hub for lost families and the professionals who support them. After the stillbirth of her daughter, Evelyn, Vallen experienced intense postpartum depression, rage, and isolation, experiences she now speaks about to bring voice to the often hidden truths of loss and motherhood. Through education, storytelling, and advocacy, she helps families feel seen in their sorrow and trains providers to hold space with compassion. Her mission is clear. Grief doesn't need fixing, it needs witnessing. And I think Kelly and I definitely agree with that. So welcome, Vallen. Thank you for being here with us today.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
So we'll go ahead. We'll jump right in. And usually we like to get an idea. I mean, through your bio, it tells us a little bit about what you do, but maybe you could tell us a little bit more about your work and your mission and your population that you're working with.
Yeah. So, where to start? You read that beautifully. I am a postpartum bereavement doula. And actually that happened. I took my training before Evelyn died. And in that training, we focused like 20 minutes on bereavement or baby loss. And there was just a video of a family who lost their baby. And they kind of just talked about it. And it was really impactful because I had two living kids, and I was pregnant with Evelyn. And I was like, wow, I didn't even realize babies died. I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, that was 2019. Sorry. And yeah, 4 months later, Evelyn died. And I was like, I could have used something. And so, yeah, that's where I would say my grief journey began. I feel like many of us, grief happens in little bits and pieces all over our lives. I'm also estranged from my mom, and we've always just had a really, really difficult, volatile relationship. And I ended up ultimately having to cut her off. And for a woman, not having a mom, is one of the worst things that I think, personally, that could happen. I didn't have a role model, in a great sense. My grandma was an amazing person. She was my person. I loved her so much. But so that was grief for me. I still grieve that all the time. I'm always missing my mom. And grief is a living thing. It comes with you. It follows you. It's in you. It's around you. And it kind of just shows up at the worst times, inconvenient times, actually.
Yeah.
So in terms of what I do, Evelyn was the catalyst for that. Ultimately, I wanted to help people know how to support families who lost babies. And so that is truly what I do. I virtually train, I train in person. I have a podcast of my own. I've co-written a book that, was an Amazon bestseller. I've done a lot of things in regards to experience in regards to the grief that I have, because I feel like the more that I do these things, it feels lighter. It's still there, but it feels better. And it's how I guess I processed what I went through. Because also at the time of my loss, my husband was deployed. And so I had my doula with me. And we were able to get him home for a little bit, but then there was the grief of him not being able to see her because I didn't know to ask the funeral home to wait a few days. Nobody told me that could be a thing. Nobody knew anything, it felt like. And that was really frustrating. I'm like, you're a funeral director, you're people who deal with these things all the time. And you had to have worked with another military family. This is a military area. Like, there wasn't an option. So my husband ultimately never got to see her, hold her, experience her. So we have completely different grief experiences when it comes to our daughter. And it's really hard for him to even put that into words because he doesn't know how to feel about that. And so the other piece of that was he ended up going back on deployment, and you guys, is the letter today for rebuilding. So we felt routine would be the best thing. He had a few more months left on deployment, and it was summertime. So for my girls, we did have we've always been a routine family. It's what saved me and my sanity as a mom, and being a stay-at-home mom. So he left, and it was me and the girls. We got back into our summer routine of our walks, lunchtime, all this stuff. And my husband was told that he would have help and support back on the ship. Ultimately, he did not and tried committing suicide. And then also had an affair. So it was one of the worst, I don't know if I can swear, but worst effing things that just a cascade of things happening. And so when grief happens like that, it's really hard to untangle what grief is coming from what and what you're grieving. So it was a really layered experience, but getting back into the routine helped us at home, but for him, it didn't. So that was, I hope that answered all the questions. I get distracted and I'll go off on tangents. So just redirect me if I need.
Well, I just want to, first of all, I want to thank you for being so honest and vulnerable with us. And this topic is something that I'm really grateful that we're talking about today. I mean, you talked so many different layers there, the compound of grief, infant loss and people, our society just not being equipped or prepared. I work with so many moms. I have a slew of moms on my caseload that have had stillborn loss. And these things that you've mentioned are all things I hear over and over again. Hospitals not being grief informed, staff not being grief informed, resources not being there, and also the issues with the way men and women grieve, right? Especially, I think, with stillborn, and it's just there's so many layers. And I love that you do trainings because that's one of my biggest passions, and Karen's, I would say, is we love to train individuals to become more grief informed, because the stories I've heard in my office about what's happened in the hospitals, what's happened at funeral homes and things it shouldn't happen, right?
Yeah.
We need to do a better job. And so what do you think are some of the things that you wish society understood about stillborn loss? I know that's a loaded topic, probably, in
It is,
question.
but that's okay. That's why we're here. Just that, I mean, it's feelings come up more than anything else. The feeling of we've lost an entire timeline, an entire, yes, there's identity, we lose pieces of ourselves, but there's a whole life that we've created since the time we knew we were pregnant. Even before, if you've been trying for a long time, you have the vision of the family and the baby and the, everything else. It's losing an entire life. It's just gone. And I think it's very hard for people, one, to just hold grief. We, anything that's uncomfortable for us, we tend to run from, and that's fair. We're humans. That's what we're meant to do. Or I should say what we're wired to do. But it doesn't ever go away. And we are constantly missing a child. It's hard to explain. I don't know. It's visceral. And when I say that, I mean it you feel wrong all the time. You feel you're just constantly feeling you're never going to be okay. on the outside, we look okay. Like, we obviously, some others aren't though, and some others don't even make it. But those of us who do, it's just, we're masking all day long. We have to, like, if we sit in it all the time, we will literally die. We can't function. There are days that I still can't get out of bed, and I often am like, God, why am I feeling like this? It's, not even Evelyn's birth month, because that's something that happens to me on the month of her birthday. My body starts shutting down. Um, so I guess that's another thing too. Like, we need physical support, on anniversaries and when we're triggered, or, just show up. People, there's something to be said about that initial grief stage, the acute grief, when we're like maybe coming home from the hospital and we don't want a bunch of people, but we do want people later. We want everybody all the time whenever they can show up for us, but we're not going to ask. Most of us, I should say. I'm sure there are people who really are great at that, but a lot of us are not. Our culture deems that as a weakness, or a frilly, silly woman thing, like, we need help, why do you need help? um but yeah, just show up always, whenever. Save the baby's birthday in your phone, send a text every year. Like, that is not difficult, but it would mean everything.
I
So
100% agree with that. Yes, that's what I tell all the time. I'm like, come on, it's not that difficult. Just put it in your calendar. Like, come on, people
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. I think Kelly and I, through this podcast and the work we do, we end up talking to people sometimes about what we would call like disenfranchised grief, like grief that can be diminished. Oftentimes because it's just really not understood, or maybe it's not something that people can relate to. There's certain losses that are people like, okay, either they've had that loss or they kind of get, or they think they understand what that would feel like.
yeah,
But this may fit into that category of, unless someone has experienced it, that they just really don't know. So how do you feel like your grief may have been disenfranchised at different times, through maybe the people around you, or even through, the systems that you went through medically?
Looking for a grief community that actually feels supportive, not overwhelming? We built one. The Grief Ladies community on Facebook is a private, free space where you can connect with others who are navigating life after someone they love has died. Inside, you'll find weekly prompts, practical tools, conversations that feel real, not sugarcoated, and a place where your person is honored. If you want steady support and a community that understands what your days look like right now, come join us. Search the Grief Ladies community on Facebook or tap the link in our bio.
yeah. Personally, in my experience, a lot of it came from my family. um I mean, my dad still won't talk to me about Evelyn to this day. He also, veteran. He so much pride, and like thinks he could have saved her that day if he was there. But actually, a little segue, like, before Evelyn was born, I had asked my family, my mom specifically, because she has no boundaries. Like, I want a few weeks, just me and the girls and Evelyn. Like, me and my girls. Like, it was a dream come true for me. Like, I just want us to, like, I'd have my friends, locally, who would be helping and stuff, but like, I didn't want my family there, because when my family there, it's a burden, and I have to like take care of them. I have to cook. I have to like do everything. Now, my mom would have helped out, but also, again, no boundaries. She told me immediately after I sent that text, like, nope, I'll show up. I'm going to be there no matter what. You can't tell me this. I'll be at that hospital, like, all those types of things. So, segue back. Um, he thinks that if, I wouldn't have said that and said, don't come, that if he was there and he did come, that she would be saved miraculously. So, he obviously, he came out. My dad is somebody who always shows up, even if he sucks at something. um, he will show up. He will be there. Um, my brothers never talk to me about it till this day. Still don't say anything. Don't act like I have a fifth child. Um, Disenfranchised in the way of like, it's like it didn't happen. It's like it's just in my head, like, and I have to hold this thing alone. There's a lot to be said about disenfranchised grief. I will say too, with my experience is like, well, I guess two parts. There is a part of grief, or I should say maybe just death, where people do show up for a few weeks and then they're gone. So I don't think that's specific to baby loss, but the isolation and loneliness you feel after a baby dies, I feel is different from like somebody you knew who's going to die your whole life, grandparent or something. And you kind of had an expectation down the road it would happen. There's like, when people just disappear or stop showing up, it's really hard after you lose a baby. I had friends who did not show up at all that I like couldn't believe didn't. Um, and then also the other piece of that, where was I going with that? Disenfranchised grief. Um, Friends, family. This one was a good one too. I'll have to get back to that one. Um, but yeah, it shows up. It's there, and
You know what I have a kind of two-part question. I guess, well, the first part is a lot of the women that I work with, they really talk about, um, the fact that it is disenfranchised. And I think also the fact that normally friends are also going through pregnancies, right? And they get all the invitations for the baby showers or the pregnancy announcements online. And like you said, all of them will say, I never thought this could happen.
Mhm.
Right? I never knew that people had stillborns and that this was something that that this would happen, and how shocking that is. And so I think for other people, it scares them, right? Especially if they're pregnant or they're trying to get pregnant and then their friend goes through this, and it's like rocks their world, like, oh my gosh, this can happen. And so I think that's when they pull away, a lot of them. But I think people just suck with grief in general. And so yeah, I mean, it's everywhere, unfortunately. But so I'm curious, how do you handle the question? Because this is one that comes up a lot with my clients. How do you handle the question, how many children do you have?
It depends on the person. I at this point, so Evelyn's birthday is coming up in July. She'll be 7. So after 7 years, it's like, does this person deserve my time? Like, is this a relationship that I care about? Like, if it's an acquaintance, I'm gonna say I have 4 kids. But the caveat to that too is that I have 4 other children who correct me every single time I say there's only 4 children. And so then I have to go to explain. So um yeah, it varies by person. I have to protect me and how, like, do I feel like talking about this? Is it something that would help them or help me? Is it something that's just gonna like put a wedge, and make things like not great? Like, there's a lot that goes into it, actually. It's never, I don't think it's very as simple, as the question sounds simple, but figuring out the answer for each person who asks it, that's difficult.
I think it's kind of what Kelly and I talk about almost with like the how are you question.
Yeah.
And you have to pause and think like who's asking and how much time do we have and do I really want to invest in the answer? And, is this for me? Is this for them? Is it their curiosity or is it going to help me to talk about it? Like that's what's so exhausting about this process too, is that, as you're talking about it, even as time passes, it's still this sort of mental math that you find yourself having to do, to figure all that out. And I think one of the things that comes up with all loss. We have the primary loss and then the secondary loss. And I, sometimes think of those as like the invisible things that people can't see, that they just don't realize what goes into it. And future loss is a big part of it. Future of that, every day the person's supposed to be here, the things that they're not getting to do. And that can be true, when we lose a parent, when we lose a spouse. But the thing with losing a child is that it keeps going. There's not a point that hits where we, stop thinking about that. So, have you experienced some of that? I mean, it sounds like you're definitely marking the dates and, acknowledging the occasions, sometimes whether you even intend to or not, you're feeling it physically. So, how do you deal with some of the future loss aspects of this?
Yeah. Well, the first year is the worst, from what I've experienced so far. And then every year changes. We celebrate Evelyn every year. We have a party. We decorate. Watermelons is her thing because Carter's like that year for some reason. Watermelons was like all the little girl stuff, all the rompers. So it stuck. So we get a really beautiful, expensive cake made since I don't get to do anything else for her. And then throughout the year, I mean, we go to like walks and stuff for pregnancy loss, but it, with her birth month, so coming up on her birth month, I slow down. I don't have a lot of capacity. I don't have much to give. So my husband will do more. But I honestly, I rest. I might sleep with her urn more often. I might, um, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm a lot in my head. That is where I spend most of my time, with, in regards to like Evelyn and what happened and our relationship. And, so I think about like how old she would be. And one of the things that triggered me a lot in the beginning was the Target mannequins, because they actually have baby and toddler ones in the section if you go in that section. And so I still every time I go to Target and I see one, I'm like, Evelyn would be that size, or I'd look at clothes and like find her size. And like sometimes for her birthday, we'll buy the size that she would be, and we just save them. Um, but yeah, we try to make it as normal. Like for my kids, it's completely normal. I think for me, because they grew up that way, and for me, I'm still trying to figure it out because she should be here. She's a child. Like children shouldn't die. Um, they just shouldn't. Um, so yeah, I mean, the loss. There's other secondary losses, like me and my husband's relationship. Nobody tells you how messed up that's gonna get, especially if you throw in a suicide attempt and an affair. Um, Like, and I think that was the other piece of disenfranchised grief that I forgot that I couldn't think about was affairs. So like, for me, it's like, I still feel shame around that. Like, I feel shameful that I stayed. I'm like, what do people think of me? Like, because I do talk about it, not as openly as I do with Evelyn, but that is something like people just are scared to talk about to other people, because it's something that really hits on like you as an individual and your identity, and it becomes like a piece of like who you are, like your self-worth and stuff. At least for me it did. So the secondary loss of our relationship, and honestly, I'm so glad, hindsight, right? We were kids when we got together. I just graduated college. I was pregnant. We moved in with my dad. He joined the military to like get insurance and like get us out from a small town. Um, but we had to work. Um, I feel grief is like the only way to get through it is to grow in some form or the other. I mean, you can stay where you're at. There's nothing wrong with that if that's who you are. It's just in order to move beyond it, bring it with you. I mean, I look at it as like it's a suitcase and it's always with me. Like it just changes size sometimes, you know? Um, but yeah, the relationships, the parenting, like after you lose a child, that is sucks. Like just trying to every day like function, get them food, bathe them, brush their teeth, like just sitting there crying through it all. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
This,
Well, and I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with that rebuilding. And, whether it's a person who has lost a child or maybe somebody who's lost a parent, somebody who's lost a spouse, if we have duties, especially to other people, children, surviving parents, it's very difficult to try and be taking care of everybody else. And life keeps going on, and there's places where you are needed and you don't get to just stop or even slow down all that often. So um, you talked about the importance of routine before. Is there anything else you can kind of say about how you even use that now to help you through?
Yeah. Oh my God. I feel like routine has saved. Honestly, it's just, oh, I look at it from a kid's perspective, always knowing what's coming next. We cannot control anything else. Literally, there's nothing we can really control. Even our routines get messed up sometimes by things we cannot control. But being able to wake up and be like, okay, I got school, so I know to get dressed. I know I need to brush my teeth and eat breakfast. Like those things feel safe. Like they're a safety net. I feel like that's what a routine is. Because what else are you going to do after something tremendous happens and you didn't have a routine? There's nothing, there's like no safety path. Like where would you start? You had to start from scratch, and that just sounds terrible. But so routines, I mean, I don't like now my kids are a little older. We have kids from 12 to 3, almost 3. So we have 4 living children. And honestly, they're my routine. Like I feel at a certain point like yeah, we have a life routine, but like my routine is taking care of them. So I have like I cannot not go. Like I can't stop. So I feel very lucky as a mom who has other children, that gave me something to hold on to and continue. Um, and on my worst days, sometimes I do throw the routine out and I'm just like, I'm going to be in bed. And sorry, John, you're going to have to take over. Like I can't function. But we do that for each other. Like that's why you have a person. That's why you get married. That's why you have a spouse or partner, whatever. Like you're not meant to be alone and do this stuff alone. Um, so I think routine just keeps you on track to survive. It's like a survival. It's like what should be in your survival kit. Is like on your worst day, what would your routine look like? For me, it would be literally at least putting on a bra. Like, because if I have a bra on, I'm more likely to leave the house and like go for my walk. And that sounds funny, but like if you don't put a bra on and you're like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not doing anything. Like for me, I have to get out of my environment that I'm in the mood or whatever, the grief that I'm in. And brushing my teeth. Like I think there's like studies. I heard somebody talking about there are studies that show like brushing your teeth is like something that can just immediately change. I gotta find. I meant to do some research on this like a few months ago because somebody told me about that. But brushing my teeth makes me feel so fresh. I don't know, like
Yeah.
something cliche, ridiculous like that. So brushing my teeth, even just brushing my hair, and putting tennis shoes on. Like those are things. I mean, again, simple. But if I don't have those, I'm not leaving the house. I'm not going to at least try to do the things and routines that I normally do. So those are like my anchor points,
Yeah.
no matter what. Um, you know,
I think that's good. I think it's talking about the things you can control, the things that, creating a couple of things that feel predictable, a couple of things you can count on. I mean, sometimes, especially in those earliest days, that's sort of all you can hope for.
yeah. And in the
And it's
earlier
really
stages,
self-care,
Yeah.
right? Brushing your teeth, it's like giving yourself a little bit of time and something for you.
yeah. And that for me is I know when something's really wrong. I won't shower for like a week at a time. That sounds terrible. Sorry. But like, I don't realize it. I don't realize that I've slipped through 7, 8 days, um, where I didn't shower. Like, and that was in the beginning, not right now, but
Yeah.
like, time is not the same after you have a tremendous loss. I'm not sure if it goes back. I feel like I've always been bad with time. So maybe that's just a me ADHD thing, but time moves differently when somebody dies that you love. Um, so yeah.
Before we jump back into the episode, we want to share something that's really close to both of us. The Grief Experience, Tools for Acceptance, Resilience, and Connection is not only a powerful book, it's actually how we met.
We were 2 of the 25 authors who came together to write this collection. Each chapter offers a personal story about grief, different relationships, different circumstances, different ways people try to make sense of life after someone they love died. Readers tell us these stories feel honest, compelling, and surprisingly reassuring. Many say it helped them feel less alone in what they're carrying.
What makes this book unique is that it doesn't stop at the story. Each chapter ends with a practical tool, something the reader can use right away. One reviewer said the suggestions at the end of the chapter became a lifeline when they weren't sure what to do next. If you're looking for grounded support, or you're a therapist wanting to understand better the reality of grief from many angles, this book offers connection, clarity, and real guidance, not cliches.
You can find The Grief Experience on Amazon, and we'd love to get your feedback.
Well, so you've already talked a little bit about the ways that you continue to honor Evelyn, which I absolutely love. And it's reminding me a lot of things that my clients have done. And I think it's really important. We always like to talk about celebrate their life. And it's really to be able to shift from the death to remembering what you did have with her, that time that she was in you. I mean, that's such a beautiful, amazing time. And then also, like, how do you stay connected to her today? So you talked a little bit about like when it's her birth date and all of that, but are there other ways? And obviously you've created a business and you're doing things to support other people. So you're really continuing to honor Evelyn, but are there other things that you do that you think other women could benefit from hearing?
I guess like as a little hobby, I started making cremation jewelry. Like, so I just make pieces for like John's mom or me. And the kids. The kids love having like the little funny necklaces. Not funny, but like Emmett's has like a little dragon in it, like just um but they get to pick the colors and they get to, help put the ashes in there. And it, demystifying, I feel like urns and your baby's ashes can be something really scary for parents. For me, that's how I felt in the beginning. But my kids were like, no, what does it look like? Like they poor little kids are thinking they stuffed a baby in there. And that's how their brain translates when you're like, oh, your baby sister or brother's in there, right? So that was a whole experience. But yeah, jewelry, I mean, everything I do is like about Evelyn. Every family that I talk to, every person that I support, I'm trying to think, besides birthdays, um, we collect money. Like, and she has, my best friend's mom made me, it's this huge, like, um, piggy bank. It's literally like 3 or 4 feet tall and it has Evelyn's name, in block letters. So like, it has this cool little thing where you drop it in and it's kind of like a waterfall and it like goes down. So, um, the boys love putting money in there. And the goal was to fill it up and then donate it to one of the, nonprofits, for stillbirth. Um, what else? Yeah, just little things. I mean, I think I'm the one who mainly does and thinks about most of it. It's yeah. I mean, other than birthdays and I will write her letters sometimes. I have the journal that I got when she first died. My sister-in-law gave me a journal. So I'll write letters in there when I'm missing her. Um, I find like new frames for her photos, just kind of make it like a new thing. It sucks not having photos. I feel I have photos, but like, you watch your kids grow up and you have all these photos and for Evelyn, it's like the same ones over and over. Um, so just trying to always bring her with us. Like when we travel, we bring her urn. Like obviously not on a plane because I don't know what they would do and I'm just too scared to like them dump her out or something.
You just have to bring the paperwork with you. You're good. I have a lot of clients that travel with her.
Wow,
So
okay.
you-
Yeah, I was always too scared. We went to Ireland last year. It was like our first time we ever, just me and my husband went. And I was like, oh my God, it would be so cool to bring her. Did do that. Um, but just little, like, there's probably so many other ways, but I don't think of them as like remembrance or like, it's just like a normal thing for me now, if that makes sense.
Well, you're carrying her with you as you go, and you're
Yeah.
continuing to say her name, and these are the things that I think are so helpful and important to be doing.
Tattoos too. Well, where is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and my best friend went and got a tattoo a week after. Yeah.
Well, I think it sounds like it's all the time. You definitely you have the bigger occasions, but it's the looking at your tattoo, it's when your kids are wearing the necklaces, when you're in the room with the urn, like those are things that just, kind of going back to that idea of routine or become part of your day-to-day life, is honoring her. Like I think in the beginning, we're so overcome with the grief. It's like the grief is just coming at us. But in time, we're trying to figure out how do we stay connected to them? How do we honor them? But I think you have moved into a place where it just is part of your life. It's just this kind of secondary automatic thing that you do now, which is a good place to move into. But as we close out today, we always like to leave people with an idea of something that's going to help them, something that as they're trying to figure out how to manage with their loss, whatever that may be, one thing that they could maybe take away and even start today that would help them.
Oh my God. It's so simple. Like what I'm going to tell you sounds so simple.
Okay. We love simple.
Doesn't always feel that way though. When you're grieving, nothing feels easy.
Hmm.
Um, but sun, movement, water, and sleep. Like though, like I am somebody who is like obsessed with the earth. Like I go outside and like I could sit out there for hours just like with my eyes closed and feeling like the physical sensations of like the sun and the wind. And it's like the most magical thing to me. Like I just can't believe like this is where we get to live. Um so that was sunshine is so healing. Just like people who like to sit by the water, not even to swim, just to listen to it. Some people are more auditory than visual, but sunshine, sit out in the sun, go on your porch. Like you don't have to talk to anybody, you don't have to do anything. Like get a blanket out, like go lay in the grass in the sun, like look at the sky, like just feel, just be present in the feelings like you're physically feeling. Making sure you get water. Like water is so dumb. Like everyone's like, yes, I know you need to drink water, but fill up that damn water bottle. Like just take it with you wherever you go. Like drink a little bit, whatever. And then just moving, like, and I'm not talking about like aggressively working out, but just going for a walk on your own, listening to, I don't know, meditations or podcasts or music, like, or nothing. Just put the headphones on so people won't bother you. Like, nobody's going to stop you. Like, if you have headphones on, they think you're normal listening to music. They don't know you're grieving and like trying to avoid people. So headphones are great in public too. Like, if you go out, put headphones on. Um, and sleep. And sleep, I think, is one of the harder ones too, because we sit up and we ruminate and we just think, we overthink and think and think and think about everything that happened and why did it happen. Like all the existential stuff comes out when we're trying to go to sleep. So, getting help with that, like asking your doctor for, or, over the counter melatonin and Unisom, but I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to like tell you what to grab, but it's so important to like you even just surviving. So yeah, those are
Yeah.
simple but free as well for the most
Yeah.
part. But
Yeah, so sun, movement, water, and sleep. Those would be
yeah,
the four things. And I think that kind of goes along with the framework that, we talk about with the self-care. And it's about approaching those things in a different mindset. I think so much of our health focus is always on appearance, but we're really just trying to, sometimes I say just like get your blood moving, just to kind of move through some of the energy in your body and everything else. It's really important. And even for someone, if they are having limitations or challenges, just being able to sit outside, get a little sun on their face is really, important. So, Vallen, very, very helpful advice. And we appreciate all that you shared. If someone wanted to learn more about what you do or to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
I mean, they can just email me. Email is probably the best way. I am not great at social media. I do have an Instagram, at Evelyn James and Co. Um, Facebook, it's Vallen Webb. So it's, yeah, anyway. And yeah.
Okay. And we always have the links to those contacts with the show notes, I think, right? So, well, good. Well, Vallen, thank you so much for being here today. And again, for all you shared. Kelly, thank you as well. And thanks to everybody. Hope we'll get to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us on The Grief Ladies.
Don't wait to feel better to get started. Getting started is what makes you feel better. Put this week's tool to work.
If today's episode helped, share it with someone who needs it and leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you.
And remember, we're here for you, your trusted grief ladies, navigating this path together.